What's up? It's your boy Elijah Glenn. Welcome back to another edition of Glenn's is How I See It. Episode, I don't know, 47 by now for Humble Dad. We have a special guest in the building, young sir. That's my brother-in-law. And we haven't even had a lot of conversations, but I think this is a great opportunity to have a conversation about being a dad. I respect this dude immensely. I don't even think he knows how much. So I'm saying it now on camera so he can't forget it. And if he does, I can always play it back. All right. None other than Mr. Jake in the building. How's it going, sir?
It's going pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. And as always, I tell people I appreciate the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we don't have to do this. And so I really appreciate the time that you're giving me.
Oh yeah.
So for sure. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Um. So I guess let me start off because this is a dad thing. I'm a father of two. You know, I got a
Yeah.
little boy, little girl, 4 and 3. Um. Other than that, it's like I work full time at a custom computer building PC company. I don't know how else to put it. We just build computers for gamers.
That's
We
what's
make
up.
them look really cool and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then I also I do a lot of stuff to make like a different kind of passive income.
That's what's
It's like active passive income. So stuff like
active.
that.
That's what's up. I like that term, active passive. That's what's
Yeah.
up. So let's get into it, man. First question I always ask: what do you feel like the difference between a father and a dad is? Or do you feel like there isn't one?
Yeah, I think so. So like a father and a dad. So a dad is someone that you can go to and you want to talk to about, either anything and everything you ever want to, right? You're like,
Mm,
"Hey dad, I had a bad day, can we talk?" Right? "Hey dad, I had a good day, can we talk about it?" "How was your day?" A father is just someone that's there. Like he's not really there, but he's somehow in your life. Like
mm,
if we want to put it into in the terms that I'm saying is that I've technically had two fathers and one of them was a sort of dad, right?
mm.
I had
Okay.
one that left when I was young, one that came in, he was there for a couple of years and then he gone again. Now I just
Mm,
see them as just like I don't even call him dad anymore cuz
mm.
he didn't want to be there. So
Yeah,
it's like how can I call you dad?
that's what's
However
up.
you are my father. It's like
Mm,
so that's
yeah,
how I see it.
that's dope. I understand your perspective. I've
Mhm.
had that situation myself. So I want to talk about like let's go back to that time then when you were younger. Talk to me
Mhm.
about elementary school, middle school, something like that, as it relates to did you have? You said you had a father. You
Yeah.
had two fathers, and then you had one leave, and then you had another one kind of come in. So talk
Yeah.
to me about that scenario, that situation.
So, let's see how to put it. So, my mom got pregnant in 94.
90s
Uh,
baby.
yeah, 90s baby. What's up? My mom got pregnant in 94. That he just I don't know exactly everything. I'm not really told down to the detail. It's
That's what's
just
up.
that he asked my mom to marry him and she said no. So he just
Okay.
left. Just
Okay.
gone. Out of the
Okay.
blue, just disappeared, didn't even say anything. Um and then so, fast forward 3 years later, now 3 still in North Carolina at this point. Um and then I guess my dad came in and he married my mom. And then what came with that was I got two older step siblings, and
Mm,
then a couple years later, I got two younger half siblings. Right,
okay.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, and then
So you like the middle child?
yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, if you count the siblings I grew up with. No,
Okay.
if you count all of my siblings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got
I
you.
have two other
Okay.
siblings that I
Okay.
didn't even know until about 20. So, until I was
Oh,
about
okay.
20. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
it's
what's up. Okay.
it's one of those
Yeah.
freak things where it's like
Yeah.
yeah, people go and search, and then you're like, oh wow, I actually do have other siblings. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
For sure. So who would you say was your uh, father figure during the time of your adolescency? I said, I guess from you say 3 to like 13, 14?
3 to 13, 14. Um, it's hard. I was a very mature child
Okay.
where it's like I didn't really look up to anybody and I just kind of did my own thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't go, "Oh, that's how I'm supposed to act." I somehow at the age of 6, I knew to make my own assessment on how I should act.
What?
Yeah, it's like it's really weird. It was like if I see something and I'm like, you know what, that doesn't look like it should be that way, then I
Yeah.
don't think it that way.
Okay.
It's really bizarre. Around that age, I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair. So then,
Yeah.
as you progress, then like, so when you get from middle school, then you go into high school. Like, who is the person, man, I would say, or who is guiding you during that particular point in time?
So guidance wise, I had a friend around that age. So it's like 6th, 7th grade up until about like 10th grade.
Okay.
I had a friend that I used to go to his house a lot, right? And his dad was probably who I would say I would look up to at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, and then we lost touch. Lost.
So why were you looking up to him at the time? What was it about him?
He was very gentle but strict. He understood that people do have feelings, and he wasn't going to get mad if something took too long. He was patient.
Wow.
And he was kind to strangers. Like anytime there was someone off the side of the road that needed help, he helped. Anytime there was like we go to a restaurant or something, they're like, "Hey, I'm sorry, we're so backed up, it's going to take a little bit." He's like, "It's fine. We'll wait. We'll figure out something."
Wow.
He came up with the conversation, and then all of a sudden our food came out. Stuff like that. If I ever
Wow. I was just saying you remember that. That's the
like I don't remember much as my childhood or from my childhood, but like but his dad I remember a lot.
Wow. You must have went over there pretty regularly. You say a lot. So you said that happened for about a couple years in high school.
Yeah, there was a time that I stayed over at their house for 3 weeks straight. I didn't go home.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to be home.
Uh-huh.
It had nothing to do with home. It was just I'd just much rather be there.
Got you. So then when you fast forward to like I guess after high school, what happened with you doing after high school? Because you graduate high school, then where you at?
So I graduated high school. Me and my wife got married at that point.
Right out of high school?
Like a year.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, like right out of high school, I went to UTA. Didn't really have like any kind of like father figure then. I didn't really have like a figure to look up to. I just kind of once again did my own thing.
Yeah.
I was like, we went to parties. So I was like, yo, this party's lit, but I have to get home. Really? So I'm not gonna do anything dumb. Like I never really like. I never drank and drove. I never.
I got you.
Yeah, I never smoke and drive. None of that. I did everything responsibly, and I just went home when it was the right amount of time to go home. What? And no one taught me this. I just did it. Wow. I just knew better. That's all.
Wow. So then you get married, like you said at 18, 19?
19, yeah.
Like what made you want to be married at 19? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I get it because
there's not necessarily
an age thing,
if you will, or in this day and age, it's like, man, that's too young.
Yeah.
Right? I disagree because it's a lot of advantages of getting married early.
Getting married that young. I would say we were pretty in love with then because we were dating for about 4 years. I didn't really care for anyone else, and I kind of just like. I was just kind of like done with the whole if there was a searching game. kind of thing. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've noticed that when the times changed, people changed, and when people that are still single around that time, when they changed into their what they think is adulthood, because you get 19 to when you're actually working a real job
Mm.
is in between that time frame is like you think you're an adult,
Wow.
right? And
Okay.
you're not real. You still think you think you're adult. You think the world owes you a lot of stuff, and they don't. You know,
Mm.
no one really cares about you, and you think people do.
Mm.
And between that time, people tend to get egos. They tend to get narcissistic and all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not for me. So I got married young because I really loved my wife. You know, well, I really loved her, loved in that time. Anyway, sorry. Yeah,
You get it. Yeah, I
I
understand.
yeah,
It's not like you. It's not like you don't love her anymore.
I may love her, but sometimes I don't like her. You know.
I know that. That's 100. That's 100, bro. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
So it's just it's stuff like that. Like we got married because we didn't really want to be with anyone else. So we didn't we we still had some issues with our relationship, of course. And then it took us probably about 2 years into our marriage to understand like how important communication really is. You
Mm.
know, like that's where I think a lot of people are why they're still single around my age is that they don't understand communication. It's like you can't just have it your way. There's their
Right.
way too.
Yeah.
You can compromise. It might not come out in an agreement, you know? It might not be like, oh, I only got 20% of what I wanted and they got 80% of what they wanted. But the next thing comes around, then it's 80% you, 20% them, you know, or 50-50, you
Wow.
know? Stuff like that. But it's like, we had to talk. We had to talk a lot. And now we don't even get angry at each other. We get angry because of other things made us angry. You know? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
someone cut me off and then I'm like screaming because someone cut me off and it almost killed me. And my wife's like, do you want me to get off the phone? I'm like, yeah, because like I don't want to take it out on you. I don't want to yell at you because someone else, you know.
That's what's up. And so
Yeah.
you're saying it took you to like, okay, so
I was about 21.
21 years old. So
Yeah.
at 21, you're married and you are figuring out this relationship. So then when does the first child come?
Around that time. I was
Around that time.
21.
Okay.
I had to
So
think, I
talk
had
to
to
me
really
about
think about
that. Talk to huh?
I had to really think about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not that old, Jake.
No. A lot has happened between then. So
That's fair. Okay, so
Yeah.
talk to me about the time about your first kid, if you will.
So, when we were 19, at that time we were expecting a girl.
Okay.
However, she did pass away.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really tough on us. That's where it was like when you have a child that passes away, there's that you almost resent each other, but
Okay.
you have to understand that that's where it was. We had to find the line of communication. It was because we were going through a dark time that she was depressed and showing it, and I was depressed and not showing it.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I didn't want to talk about it. She wanted to talk about it.
Wow. Okay.
And so we were getting angry, right? It's like I don't want to talk and I didn't show and I was very emotionless. I never really show my emotions. So it's like, well, when I get angry, when I'm angry or when I'm sad or depressed, you can't see it. I just look like I'm fine.
Okay.
Right? And so that's where the issue lies, and we had to learn how to talk. And so then we tried again for 2 years. It was very difficult. She was working a job that was making her very stressful. I was still in some kind of school because I dropped out of UTA at that point and I went to a technical school for sleep studies. And I was finishing up. I have to think about the entire time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was finishing. I was in the middle of it or had just started. It's very difficult to think of what happened in 2018.
I understand.
Yeah. And then we trying, and I said, quit your job. It's making you too stressful. Just quit it. We can sustain. We were fine. I was actually working at this point. I was no longer in school. I was making enough that we could be living on our own. That if she were to quit, we would be fine.
Wow.
However, it'd be like all right, we got to delegate how much we want to spend for food, but that's fine. You know, you can make $75 a week like work for 2 people.
This is true.
Veggies are cheap.
Would you say vegetables?
Yeah, vegetables are cheap. People don't realize how cheap vegetables really are. It's the meat that's expensive, but if you buy it in bulk and then you split it and freeze it, yeah, it's not fresh, but you still can use meat.
Come on, Doc. Yeah.
So, yeah, I told her to quit. Literally 2 months after she quit, we got pregnant. So,
what?
Yeah, it was stress. It was stress related. So we had to figure it out. We had to figure out what it comes down to, and then so at about 12 weeks.
So talk to me about that though, because you went through a horrible moment, of the first kid. Okay, now you're not speaking to each other, or y'all having difficulties speaking with each other, and then you say, even in that, you say, okay, well, we're gonna try again, but she's stressed. You recognize the stress, which is a really dope thing, that you recognize the stress, and then that may be the cause of why y'all couldn't get pregnant again. Walk me through the day that you got the news that she was pregnant again. Do you remember?
Yeah. So that was 2017. I remember exactly. So I told her to quit in September of 2017. She was like, I think it was sometime in November, and then in December, on my birthday, because my birthday is December 12th, she gave me like a package, or like a gift. I couldn't think of what that was called. A gift, and in it had the pregnancy test.
Wait a minute. She gave you a gift. You just called it a package.
Yeah. I'm sorry, like vocabulary in English, I know it's like my only language, but at the same time I have such a difficult time with it. Yeah.
I'm fine, man. I think it's just hilarious that you call. I hope she watches this, or at least get a word that you call the gift a package. I wonder what her response is gonna be.
That's too funny.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, she gives me this gift, and then it had a pregnancy test, and then I looked at it and it said positive. And this was like probably the first time in like 4 or 5 years that I finally cried. Yeah, that I cried in front of her and just holding her. And then she started crying because I was crying.
Yeah. And
so then we made sure we did every little step we could to make sure we have this child. So at 12 weeks.
What do you mean? You did everything you
So the reason we lost our first child is because her mucus plug broke at 12 weeks, right? And so when the mucus plug breaks, and the child wants to come out. So for some reason, her body thinks a child is like an infection. It wants to get rid of it. So with my son at 12 weeks, she was on bed rest up until that point. And she had to get a cerclage put in where they just sew the cervix shut so he can't come out. Because you're typically, I think, supposed to have like, is it like 4 centimeters or something like that? Or 4 or 5 centimeters at that point. She was already at like a centimeter or something like that. I can't remember the actual measurements, right? He was ready to come out.
Wow.
Right? Sewed it shut. She couldn't work. She couldn't do anything for the rest of the time until 40 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and as soon as it was like, soon it was time, he came out. She had gestational diabetes, so we didn't know how to like really work with that very well. We had a nutritionist, and it just, for her, she wasn't really seeing it and like how it was actually affecting her. And then once he came out and he had low blood sugar, they had to keep him for a week. So she didn't get to have him for the first week. Like we got to sleep with him for the first night, and then after that, like he was out of our hands for a full week, and he was in the NICU.
Wow.
So being in the NICU, like it really kind of traumatized us in a way of like, is he fine? Because one time we called up there, and they were like, because at Harris in downtown Fort Worth, They have it, or is it Cooks? I can't remember which building we went into.
They have a couple of them down there. So.
Yeah, a couple of them down there. Because like Harris is attached to Cooks, but at the same time, it's not really Cooks. It's like Harris's division inside Cooks. It's not even called Harris anymore. But yeah, so as they had cameras in there, so you could watch the baby, right? You could watch them. Oh, that's probably yeah, on the phone, on the computer, anything. They had a camera, right? And the camera was off, and my wife called up. And she's like, "Hey, the camera's off. Is anything okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, everything's fine. The baby's having surgery. A baby, right?" She goes, "Oh, okay." Then we go up there. Like I come home from work, and we go up there, and we realized it was our child. They didn't tell us it was our child, but it was our child, and it's because he wasn't feeding properly or something, so they had to go through the belly button.
What?
Yeah, so it was.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was obnoxious. It was annoying, but he didn't have any blood sugar issues for the rest of the week. So it's if they have one, it's an automatic 7 days. One issue, 7 days. Any more issues, then it's like an additional 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's stressful.
Yeah, it was very stressful. And
so then as you move past it, or and then you realize, okay, baby's home. Now like what's that mentality like? Like what's the mind shift going from without having a kid in the house, now you have one?
Oh my God. I became so much more humbled, I would say. Right? Just just the child in front of me made me go, you know what? Whatever I'm doing everything else that I'm doing that's making me angry is not really worth it. Wow. So I'm holding this child, and I was like, if I show anger to this child will resent me. I don't want to show anger at inappropriate times. Like if I'm playing a game and I get mad at the game and I show anger towards it, that's so inappropriate in my eyes. I understand that's like, you get mad, right? But like, you should just get mad and go, oh, that sucks.
And yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so if I'm showing anger, it's like when we're driving. When I'm driving, I show anger when I'm alone, but I don't show anger in front of them, because if I show anger in front of them, then they're going to go, oh, he's scary when he's driving. I don't want to drive with him.
Okay.
Or things like that. Yeah, it's like this is an infant, but at the same time, I just feel like this infant just picks up anything. If they hear a sound, because that's a big development thing, sounds.
Yeah.
So if they hear a sound and it's a sound that doesn't sound like a good one, then they're gonna start hearing that, like developing with that, and it's like, I don't want them to hear that mean sound, that angry sound.
Got you. So you wanted to model what it is that you want them to do, and not just request it of them. That's very important as dads, is to to model what it is that we want. One of the things that me and Ethan was working on is how to tie his shoe, because he's been frustrated that he's 7 now and he didn't know how to tie his shoe. His people on his team know how to tie their shoe, and so he was like, "Dad, you told me that you're gonna teach me." And I was like, "Yeah," and I just hadn't been doing it, right? Not following through with what I said I was gonna do. But he's holding me accountable though, right? And so the past couple of days, I just made it a thing to make sure that I help him, because as Ethan is his language of love is time. Like if you're not spending time with Ethan, he feels like you hate him.
Okay? Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so I wanted to make sure I spent that time with him, and nobody else is around really. I mean, they may be in the house, but they're not in our space. And I just took a moment to show him how I tie my shoe. Because what I did with the other kids is show the video, right? And they tie their shoes how the video goes, but that's not Ethan. That's not going to help Ethan. It will help him, but he would rather be in my presence, right?
Yes.
And so I showed him how I did it, and he was struggling. He was upset. I did get frustrated a couple of times because he got frustrated, but I recognized that my frustration just did not help him. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I get that.
And so then when I relaxed and I tied it and I showed him, the past 2 days he's tied his shoe by himself. So he learned He learned within 30 minutes to an hour altogether.
There you go.
And he was super excited this morning when he tied his baseball cleats.
Yeah.
Out the he probably tied both of them. He was just out the wazoo, man. Because that's a big deal, right? To learn how to tie your shoes by yourself.
It is.
Yeah.
I remember trying to learn, and that was very difficult. You know, it took me a good minute too. It's like, yeah, it's like Porter. So Porter, he's like, all right, I want to learn how to buckle myself in the car.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So you know, the kids in car seats, so they have the two straps, right, and then it buckles down below, and then he was like, I want to do this. And so it was very frustrating at first. So we practiced with the top buckle, the easiest one. And then we practiced with just getting one side in. So he would put his thumb on it and he would place his hand, and then I would put my hand over his hand, and then I would help him press down and click.
Yeah.
Right. And then he eventually understood the strength that he needed to click it. And so this kid, I don't understand. He's just so smart sometimes that it's like, because we did that one thing, he just figures out everything on his own.
Yeah.
So like, I don't ever have to open the door, close the door. He knows how to do all that. You know, even though he barely reaches, it's stuff like Legos. We do a lot of Lego stuff together. That's like him and I quality time is Legos. Like we built, I have the Star Wars X-Wing.
You got it? Can you show it?
Yeah. Oh no!
Don't drop it. Don't drop it, Jake.
This one and this one. So this is our Star Wars X-Wing. Wow. Yeah. So we built this one together. It's not as big as much as I want it to be big, but it's pretty cool. You know, opens and closes.
Wow, that's cool.
We built that one together. We built this Boba Fett head together. Well, I broke it. Well, the visor opens and closes.
That's cool.
Yeah, like that. There we go.
That's cool.
And then this one we did together too. So it's not like it's just me building, but it's so much that he's handing me the parts that I am requesting.
Yeah.
And I broke this. There we go.
You broke it.
Yeah, and then there's this one too that we've built.
Oh wow.
So that's like cool. The wings come out all the way.
Yeah. This
one's the Imperial shuttle.
So,
yeah. It's really cool stuff.
Did y'all watch the movies?
Yeah. We watched the movies. We've watched all the like alternative movies too, such as like Solo and Rogue One. We're watching the Clone Wars, which is like the animated version of everything. It's like what happens between episode 2 and 3.
Okay.
It's like sort of in between all that.
You know your sister loves those.
You
know your sister Jen loves those.
Yeah. I know Jen's like
we got our kids love it. Now they all geeking over it.
Yeah, Jen's a real geek, but she doesn't really show it. I know she is. I know that. I remember coming to visit you guys down in Nacogdoches, right?
No way.
And she had Dragon Ball Z playing on the TV, and I was like, "What is that?" Because I Dragon Ball Z is past my time. I can't really get into it. You know, it's hard for me to get into that one.
That's fair.
But I remember watching it. She's just like, I can't remember exactly what she said, but I just remember it was a show that she really liked, right?
Yeah.
And then we started talking when I got older about like Assassin's Creed and Star Wars and stuff like that. And I found out that she was a big nerd, big geek. Yeah. And I loved Assassin's Creed. I remember she said that she played them and stuff like that.
And she beat the game twice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a tattoo of it on my arm.
What?
Yeah. So I loved Assassin's Creed. It was just
this was
yeah, 1, 2, or all 3 of them of the second game. There's 3 parts. And then the third one after that, like the fourth one was really good, but like after that it's just kind of bad. So it is what it is.
That's what's up. So you spend this time with your son.
Yeah.
What do you learn from him as y'all y'all building these Legos together?
So the thing we do when we do this together, we do it on stream with other people.
Oh,
So there's
really?
people in the chat room, and we're just building together. It's only showing our hands on the desktop, like
Wow.
on our desk, and we're just
Yeah.
building, right? He loves putting little pieces together, and I've realized he loves talking a lot about the thing we're doing.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, so I have to learn to keep up with this conversation. You know, I can't just let this conversation die. And that's one thing that I learned growing up too, was that if I tried to have a conversation with dad, he just didn't. He was like, yeah, that's cool. Like that
Mm.
was it. That was the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
If he goes, Dad, this thing shoots a blaster, I'm like, oh, what kind of blaster is it? What color is it? Oh, what does it do? You know, how does it shoot? Do you know? Do you have to click a button? Like I say all of these things and I just try to keep it going just so he
Yeah.
understands that I am acknowledging him.
What a nugget, bro.
Yeah.
That is a beast mode of a nugget.
So it's
I
like,
don't know what you're gonna say next, but that was a golden one. Go ahead.
yeah, like my dad always wanted acknowledgement, but I would acknowledge him. But if I were to ask for something, he didn't acknowledge me. It's just like, and I go, did you hear me? And he's just like, yeah, of course I heard you. You know, and it's like, but that was it, right?
Yeah.
I would say he's a role model in a certain different way. He's a role model of what I don't want to be.
Okay.
It's not really a role model. That's like a villain, right? So it's
Mm.
just, it's something I don't want. So I see that do the opposite of what he did.
Yeah.
You know, I
understand.
pay attention to what my kids are doing. I understand their love language, right? My son's love language is building and doing things together, watching shows, right? My daughter's love language is very affectionate. She loves to be in front of your face. She loves hugs. She loves being cuddled and just being literally thrown in the air. I know that's weird, but like she loves being
No, it's
thrown
not
up.
weird. This is what dads do, bro. We throw them in the air. I put Jordana, I put her on top of the refrigerator.
So,
She like, Daddy, go up. Hey,
yeah.
listen, I'll put you on top of the refrigerator. Okay?
With Phoenix, I grab her. You know, I'm holding her very, very like correctly. My hand behind her neck and her head, and then my other hand like on her bottom or legs, and I'm like swinging her and toss her onto the bed.
Yeah.
She loves it. I don't know why, but I make sure she lands on pillows and stuff like that. You know,
like a ride. It's like a ride.
I know she would love going on rides like that. But yeah, no, that's how it is. I understand my kids' love language and stuff like that. So I think that's very important for not only dads but parents as well.
Absolutely, because what I saw, like, you know, with me having 4, I have to make sure I understand all of their languages.
Yeah.
And when you said that part about the continuing the story, I recognized when I think it was Gianna, because she's a storyteller. If you ever have a conversation with her, she wants to talk to you about her book as if you have been reading her book, right?
Yeah.
So imagine trying to follow the story of this book that we have never read before, but I'm having to ask her questions, right? And so once I start asking her questions, well, in the beginning, I would say what you said before. You said what your dad would say. Oh, that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
But I noticed that she would. Okay. Well, he don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Okay? And then I was like, okay, well, she's that's how she wanted spending time with me. And she'll say, Daddy, now she'll say, every book she's reading, I'm getting a synopsis on it.
Yeah.
Right. And I asked, okay, so why did they do that? And so when I asked those questions, well, then the dialogue begins. If I just ask the word why. So what do you think is gonna happen next? Or like what, that doesn't even make sense. Why would they do that? You know?
Yeah.
And then, okay, what does this character mean? And then that conversation, as you're saying, they feel so energized by you being involved in their conversation.
Yeah.
So that's really dope. Go ahead.
It's complete acknowledgement. You know, you can acknowledge that they're saying something, but are you listening?
Yeah.
You know, you can hear it, but you're not listening.
Right.
They can sit there and say something and you're like, oh, that's cool. Did you really listen? You know, do you know how to answer the next question they're about to ask? You know?
Yeah.
Like if you don't just acknowledge what they're saying, respond to what they're saying, then that's where it becomes like, okay, dad doesn't really care. Let me go to mom.
What makes you understand that? Like, what was the conversation that triggered you to kind of, maybe you don't remember, maybe you do, I don't know, that got you to see, okay, I need to continue this conversation to validate him.
So that goes back to when I was younger, where it
Oh,
was dad wasn't recognizing what I was saying. He
okay,
could acknowledge it, but he never really cared. So
okay,
that's when I was younger, when I was like, you know what, when I'm older and I have kids, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna make sure that they go, that they love dad too.
yeah,
That they want to be around dad, that they want dad to be, everywhere and everywhere that they go.
yeah.
You know,
What's
it's
the yeah? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
Go ahead.
you're good, you're good. What were you gonna
I
say?
was just gonna say, have you had? What's the moment like when you're out of the house and you come into the house? What do you notice about your kids? What happens?
Oh, they 100% without saying it love me more than mom. Right? I come home and they're like, "Oh, daddy's home," and then it's always Phoenix, and she runs down the hall and she's like, "Baba, daddy's home," and then you hear him in the room. He's like, "Daddy's home," and then they just all come running, give me hugs, and they want to spend time with me.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly it. That's what's
right.
up. Hey,
Mom's
I'm
gone.
yeah,
Mom's gone for 4 or 5 hours. She comes back. They're like, "Hey, mom." Right?
yeah. Hey, dads have the fun, bro. If you're doing it
Yeah.
right, you know what I mean. Because that's what happens to me. The only person that doesn't come hug me is the one that thinks she's too cool for school. Mrs. 11. Been
Yeah,
about to
Miss.
be 12. Yeah, Mrs.
Oh,
0. But Joshua and Ethan, they be
yeah,
racing to try to see who
yeah,
gets in first. You know what I'm saying? When I leave, or even when I'm at the house working, I come out and I haven't been here, I haven't seen them for a while. They do the exact same thing, man.
yeah,
And it's just like, okay, I'm appreciated here. So
yeah.
I might be doing something a little right here. So that's
Yeah,
what's up.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's
So
exactly how I feel.
yeah. So
That's what I
when you
want.
that oh yeah, you gotta, like, if you're not in your house to have a relationship with the people in your house, but you would have a relationship with the people outside your house, that's a major problem,
It is.
because you are affecting. If you're able to give your energy to somebody else and you're not giving it to the people inside, then the people inside feel like they're not that important.
Yep.
And if the people inside don't feel important, then you're going to get that same energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna
Oh,
get that
I
same
get
energy.
it completely.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about, like, what do you see in your kids that also resemble you? What is the characteristics that your kids have that you also have?
So
Can you see that
luckily,
yet? I mean, they're pretty
yes.
young.
Yeah. No, you can. With
Okay.
my son's developing like really fast in the sense of trying to figure things out for himself,
Okay.
but at the same time, he's got a broad like broad vocabulary.
Okay.
This kid says the things that you don't think he will ever say, like for a fool, right? And that's
Yeah.
like me. I like if I find a new word, I like picking it up and I like to use it. Right? One of my favorite words to use that my wife hates for some reason is facetious. It's, I don't know why she hates that word.
Probably because you're saying it. Or
Probably.
how you using it.
It's if I'm being so facetious is like if you are being, it's almost like satire, right?
Mhm.
You're
Yep.
being silly or you're being, stupid,
Yeah.
but you don't really mean it,
Yeah. You're
right?
doing it on purpose.
Yes, you're being dumb on purpose, right? And I go, yeah, sorry, I'm just being facetious, right? Boy uses it. He uses it. He uses facetious. He uses vexing. He
What?
uses vexing, like being annoyed,
Yes.
right? And he uses that stuff. He says, I have the knowledge to understand how this works. He says stuff like that.
That's awesome.
He'll look at like things that are like technological and goes, "Oh, that's really cool technology." I'm like, he's 4. Why is he saying this stuff?
Probably because y'all saying it, or
Yeah,
that's
most likely.
because you're
Um,
talking to him like he's not like a little kid, baby. You're
we're not
talking to
talking to him
him,
like a kid. We're not talking to him like an adult. We're talking
yeah,
to him like a human. We're talking to
yeah,
him like he loves saying like, "Oh, Daddy, I wish we can go and get the Millennial Falcon Lego piece so we could go and build that.
Yeah.
He'll say that stuff. Oh, I love watching The Mandalorian. You know, bigger words that so hard for other kids to say. You know, the thing that the doctors use to listen to your heartbeat, your stethoscope. He says stethoscope. He does not say tethoscope or whatever, however kids say it. He says the word. He knows how to roll his R's. So if I were to say something in Spanish or how to whatever I need to roll an R, he'll roll his R too. I'm like, I don't understand this kid. But yeah, I would say he got a lot of like mechanical work from me. A lot of wanting to learn from me too. I want to learn a lot of things, and I feel like I don't ever have enough time.
You don't,
you know. So it's like there's so many things I want to do before like a certain time frame. You know, I want to get this certain amount of like passive income and different types of active income all done before I'm 30. Right? Because if I have it all done before I'm 30 and I have it done correctly, then I don't have to worry about working ever again.
Yeah.
Working for someone else, right?
Yeah.
And I see that in him too. He has goals and he has time frames, right? He does the same exact thing that I do. Phoenix, on the other hand, she is very affectionate like I am too. I love being around my significant other. I like being next to her. She hates it because I'm always hot, right? So I love it. So it helps with me with Phoenix because then I could be affectionate with her. She's cool. Very silly.
Jake, you silly, bro?
I'm silly. Like, I am goofy, right? Okay. You might not see it because when it comes to family, I don't really act myself entirely too much. I kind of put on a persona.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. It doesn't seem like it. But no, when I'm hanging out with my friends that I've been, years of just being comfortable, being whatever, I feel like, oh my God, we are dumb people.
That's fair, man.
Yeah, like I have to go to bed because I am laughing so hard I get a headache. Stuff like that. Every night it's like that. Just because it's so silly. Yeah, she gets that from me. Luckily, both my kids get their looks from their mom. I was saying they're very lucky about that. Like I got a huge nose and they have a little button nose.
That's hilarious.
They have a great hairline. I do not. Mine's starting to go.
Hey, mine's gone, bro. So,
hey, I can't wait to see Ariel's kids.
Yeah, man.
Boys got it gone too. Yeah, mine's starting to go. Theirs is like perfect straight across like hers. Mine was never perfect across. Mine always had a little dip. But they do have my eyes. So I have hazel eyes. She has brown eyes, but theirs is more blue, which is really cool. Theirs change like mine do. Like mine change between red, brown, yellow, and green. It'll change depending on lighting outside, how dark it is inside.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, and theirs does it too, between like blue, yellow, green, and blue, yellow, green, and gray. So theirs changes around those 4 colors.
So what have you seen from you being a father, dad, or you're a father, of course, and then being a dad? What has been the thing that you've learned the most thus far about yourself?
One thing what I've learned about myself.
Yeah, what you learned about yourself being a dad.
I have more patience than I think I do. As in, if my son is frustrated, or he has a bad stutter, right? On the scale of like 1 to 10, 1 is actually being better and 10's being worse. He's around like a 3 and a 4. It's like during this interview, like I've kind of stuttered, right? But it's along those lines that he will try to say something and he can't really get it out, but he keeps saying like the first syllable of it, stuff like that, right? And I just sit there and I just work with him, right? If he's frustrated, I get down on the ground, I get to eye level with him. I'm like, look at me. Let's talk it out. Let's not sit there, cross our arms and turn away. Let's look at me. Let's talk. Are you wanting to talk? No. Okay. What are you wanting to do? Are you wanting to be left alone? Yes. Okay. Well, come to me when you're done or when you're ready.
That's
or
good.
stuff like that. Are you hungry right now? Like if he's frustrated, he's not hungry. I'm like, okay, well, if you are hungry, what would have you wanted to eat? Stuff like
Mm,
that. Let's talk it out. Are you frustrated with mommy more than daddy, or are you frustrated with daddy more than mommy? If he's like, I'm more frustrated with mommy, I'm like, all right, well, you're talking to daddy, so let's just talk it out. And he
Wow.
talks it out, and I've learned that I could just talk to the kids instead of getting angry because they're angry. That's not healthy.
Right.
If you're mad because they're mad, like that to me, I see that's an issue because you're just feeling fire,
Yeah.
right? And like you can't. It's hard to say. It's like scientifically, you
Mhm.
can't. It's not good because then you're just
Yeah.
fighting. And you don't want to fight. You want to see what the issue is. I don't want. I always want to help fix things. I don't ever want to cause things.
I mean,
You
you're
know?
a technician.
Yeah,
You do build, yeah.
I do a lot of hands-on work. I also do a lot of software work too. So it's real fun. It's real interesting. I've learned patience. I've learned that I had more patience than I thought I did. And I think it also helped when I was in high school. I did a whole year with special needs kids because I had a free period and they were like, "Where do you want to go in this free period?" And I was like, "I don't care. Just put me anywhere." Right. And they were like, "Well, they really need help in special needs." And I was like, "All right, throw me there." I went
Wow.
there and I learned how to be patient. But then,
Wow.
after not being in there for so long, and then I was like, I don't know where my patience went. And then when I started to have kids that needed patience, I was like, oh, this did help me.
That's what's up. So you found it again.
I found it
That's
again. Don't get me wrong, and still get frustrated at times, but then I have to sit there, analyze everything that just happened. That just happened. Realized who's in the wrong. Am I in the wrong for getting as mad as I did? Yeah, probably. Is he in the wrong for not talking to me the way or talking to me the way that he is? Yeah, he is. But at the same time, we need to address it. We need to address, that's not how you should talk to not only your parents, but to anybody, stuff like that. So
That's what's up. That's good stuff, man. Patience is definitely needed for children and just individuals in general because you can get a lot accomplished with just being a little bit patient and waiting. Well, it's been good, man. I really appreciate the time so far, bro. Like I got a couple more questions and we'll be out of here. So we're gonna get to our number questions. I need you to give me three. I'm gonna ask you to give me three numbers, 1 through 45. I'm gonna ask you the question and you answer it as short as long as you would like. All right. Okay. So give me a number between 1 and 45.
3.
Okay. What was the first place you stayed away from home? I think I know this answer.
First place I stayed away from home.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Like when you stayed away from home, you stayed overnight. It was the first time that you can remember that you stayed at somebody else's house.
Like as a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking like as an adult or a dad thing. It's like I don't really stay away from my kids. So as a child,
these are kind of like childhood type questions. Yeah.
Possibly. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't tell you the first time I stayed away from home. So when, like the reason, there's a lot of stuff I can't remember between, when you start to spawn in as a kid. There's a thing called spawning. It's like, oh, that's my first memory when I was 4 or 5. I spawned in. Yeah, I was born. Yeah. Here I am now. Right? Yeah. I don't remember a lot of things between when I spawned to I was 14. There's a lot of empty space. I had a head injury that caused me to have short-term memory. So it's like there's things that you would tell me like right now, and then 10 minutes later I've completely forgotten, and until you bring it up again at some other time, right? So it's like you sending me 30 emails to do this. I am so happy because you know how many times I forgot to do this, like forgot that we were doing this a lot. Right. And I'm so happy. A lot of people get annoyed, but I'm one of those people that are like, hell yeah, man, give me all these emails. Now I remember. Right. So Yeah, had a head injury, caused me to forget a lot of stuff, and the only person for some reason that's triggering my memory back is Ariel, which is my brother. So
Yeah.
for everyone else, it's it's my older brother. Because we grew up together, and he would go, "Hey, remember that time we got the kite stuck in the tree?" And it's like, "Oh my god, yes, I remember that." Like I forgot all about it, you know.
Okay.
But it was such a significant thing. Anyway, stayed over.
You don't remember? That's cool. Hey, that's not a problem. Hey, you took us down a different story, which was even better.
Yeah.
All right, give me another number.
6. Yeah, 6.
If you were a superhero, which one would you be?
Frick. I do a lot of superhero stuff. I love superheroes. Who would I be? Who would I pick? I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you. I know. I gotta.
You already said I don't know to one, so you gotta answer this one. You know a lot of them.
I know. What's my favorite one?
Give me the first 3 that come to mind, and then tell me one of those.
Okay. So see, now I'm not. When people think superheroes, they think DC, Marvel.
Listen, bro.
I know. I'm going down the rabbit hole of.
These are your answers. Don't worry about anybody else. These are your answers.
But when I think superheroes,
okay,
I think, not only DC, Marvel. I go into Star Wars. I go into all of this other stuff. So there's so many superheroes to me that it's like, I don't know. There's not really one that's like.
Name 3.
Okay, name 3.
First come to mind. Yes.
So one of the, I guess, a superhero in a sort of sense. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
Right. He's not really a superhero, but he's like a hero figure. Yeah. Right. We got Obi-Wan. We've got. How do you say his name? It's Black Panther. I think it's T'Challa. Right.
Yeah.
It's him, and then I guess the last one would be Deadpool. Right? He's not a superhero, but he's not a villain. He's a vigilante.
He would okay.
Difference.
What's
superhero? Superhero is really good. Vigilante does stuff for good. Right? You could do stuff for good, but at the same time, you can mess up everything else.
What does Deadpool mess up?
Everything. So he, not only that he tries to save, but he also blows up everyone's, everything. He ends up killing his own team.
Superheroes do that too?
Superheroes don't kill their own team on purpose.
Who did Deadpool kill?
He killed his entire team. Like it's like in the second Deadpool movie too.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It's not so much on purpose. It was just like at the same time, he doesn't really care.
Got you. Okay. So which one of those 3 would you narrow down to say you would be that person?
I would be better as. I would say I would be Obi-Wan.
All right, cool.
Obi-Wan would be more like, because he's once again, when it comes to patience, he's very patient with Anakin throughout the entire story. He's kind of thrown. This kid is kind of thrown onto him as well, right? He, on the sense, didn't fail. Anakin failed him, right? I don't know. He's something I would actually look up to.
That's what's up.
Yeah, and Ewan McGregor really played like an Obi-Wan role pretty well.
That's what's up. Give me your last. That's what's up. Give me your last number.
12.
I already know this one. You gotta give me another number.
Wait, what was 12?
Who was your high school crush?
Oh, well, there you go.
Unless you had another.
All right. You know what I mean? Last one, 10.
Okay. I don't know if this is a thing for you, but let's see. What's your favorite sport and why?
Favorite sport is disc golf. So I love disc golf. Was growing up, I watched all the regular sports. Right, you got your baseball, you got your football, you got soccer. All of that. I even watched tennis. I like tennis, but disc golf was my most fun because it was something I didn't know how to do, and it was a struggle for me to do. Sports was
Mm-hmm.
everything I clicked onto. Like, you can throw me a football, throw it back, right? Throw me a baseball, throw it back, right? I can hit, I can catch, I could do all that. I played tennis. I understood it in like 1 month. Like I was able to play very well in 1 month, right? Disc golf, throwing a disc was not easy because you can't just throw it. You have to throw it at a certain level. You know, same with tennis. You got to hit it at a certain level, but you can angle your wrist really easy. Whereas like a disc, you also have to think about like the climate you're in. How many trees are around you? Where can I throw? How can I throw? Overhand, underhand, you know, stuff like that. Which way is it going to curve? Which disc am I going to use that curves even more, or go further, or is even flatter for a putting? Like, I love playing disc golf. That's one of my favorite things to do. Yeah.
You have somebody that plays it. He goes to my church. He's one of Joshua's Sunday school teachers.
Yeah.
And he plays pretty regularly.
Yeah, I did too for a very long time, and I kind of stopped because I got busy with other things. But I was hoping to go back.
That's what's up with that passive income. Well, thank you for the those answers, man.
Yeah.
You know, for those that are watching, make sure you like, share, you know, subscribe and comment on the channel. Hey, so I got 2 last questions.
Yeah.
Which TV dad do you feel like you resemble characteristics wise, or mood or looks, or whatever you want to put in there? Which TV dad, past or present, would you say you resemble the most?
So I had to do a lot of thinking on this, right? Because when it comes to TV dads, there's only 3 shows I watched growing up. It was Family Matters,
Okay,
Fresh Prince, and George Lopez.
Wow.
Because after school I was doing sports and then homework, and then I didn't want to go to bed at 11, so I watched some TV, right? And I didn't really care for TV. I just had it on. It was white noise, you know, background noise, all that stuff. But when I did watch it, I would say Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, right? Because once again, he is a humble guy. He gets angry when he has to. He's very loud. I can get loud without cracking my voice. You know, you've met my mom. There's that. But at the same time, yeah, there's times where it was, you know, Will's character was like, he really needed a father figure there, and Phil was there. You know, Phil was that guy. He understood what Will needed and all that stuff. He didn't get angry at him. He took the time with him. You know, it's like that's where I would say I resemble the most with.
That's what's up. That's good stuff. Well, yeah, that's good stuff, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you was able to think of something. That I can see. I see where you're coming from, because he was patient and he was tolerant, but he was firm when he needed it, for sure.
Yes.
Right? So last question. What would you like, or how would you? What would be a better word? What would you want your kids to say about you? How would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a dad. I don't want to be remembered as a father, going back to my definition of the both from earlier. I want to be remembered as the guy that when I told you no meant no, but at the same time I wanted to talk it out. I wanted to be remembered as the person that they're like, yeah, he was the guy I talked to when I had something going on. I didn't just talk to mom, I also talked to dad. You know, dad was he had emotions too. You know, he wasn't this strict guy. He wasn't, you know, it's like the stereotype of country dads, right? They just sit there and cross their arms and pout, right? I don't want that, right? I want to be the guy that's been there for everything, that understands my kids, that they go, yeah, I miss dad if he, you know, whenever I do pass away. It's like he was a really good man, you know? They tell their grandkids or whenever that time comes, you know? So you never know. You never know when that happens. I drive to Dallas every day. It could be any time.
Wow.
So that's why I'm learning it now. So it's if when they do spawn in, they understand I'm there, right? And if the time just happened to come early, then they remember me as a good dad, not a dad that just left them. You know,
That's
yeah,
dope. That's
that's
what's up.
tough. It's
Thank you for
deep.
sharing that. No, I thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. And then the last part of the show is all on you. All right. I'm gonna take myself off camera and then you just say whatever you want to say to the people. All right. The floor.
Okay. Oh, you're gone now. Um, I mean that's pretty much it. It's I don't really know what else to say. Uh, being a dad, dad's very patient, stuff like that. It's this right here. This is the animal we chose for the daughter that passed away. This always stays with me. Right. This is my resemblance of her. This is this is everything. Right. My kids, I have everything of theirs all around. I can always keep them around. I just it's it's tough. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy, but it's you have to learn. You have to learn a lot. Patience, communication, understanding when your kid is struggling, understand when your kid is succeeding. But yeah, that's about it. I only have four years of experience with it, so
Hey, but that's
not as
good
much.
though, man.
Yeah.
But you said a lot. I mean, I mean, there are fathers that are in steps behind you though that need to
Mhm.
understand that, and then those that of us that are ahead of you need to have that reminder. I was just riding with one of my mentors to Oklahoma. Yeah, yes. What is today? It was on Thursday. Man,
Yeah.
I haven't had enough sleep. Okay, so it was Thursday, and he was talking, and I'm like, man, I don't understand why you want to even hang out with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're worth millions of dollars, bro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he said, well, you don't understand like what the Humble Dad platform is doing for individuals, such
Yeah.
as somebody like himself, right? And I was like, wow, okay. Well, I need to let that be known to every father that or dad that I talk to, because you don't know what dad is in the situation such as yourself needs to hear.
Yep.
You know, even at the time period that you are in. So I want to say thank you so much for being here and sharing this time with me, man. This
Yeah.
is the longest we have ever talked to each other. And the
Yeah, I know.
time
You're always busy. I'm always busy, right? And then when I'm over, you're at work, and it's just like,
it's
right?
crazy.
And then
Yeah.
when my wife has to drop off the kids, guess where I'm at? Work. So
Work, right. Yeah. But this has been dope, man. I
yeah.
really appreciate the time getting to know you. And you know, just telling the people we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And we out of here. You know what I'm saying?
All
Thanks for the
right.
time. All right.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.